and you need to be really alert when you're riding the bike. It just kind of pulls you to the present. You're just there. You're just there with the bike and with the wind, and you're just riding it.
Welcome to another episode of History on Wheels, and it's a special episode because for the first time on season 2 we have a two-wheeler, and it's not just any bike. This is an iconic bike. It's all about its simplicity, its ruggedness, and of course that sound which announces its arrival. Yes, I am talking about Royal Enfield. Well, it went on to become an iconic brand all about its community and that chilled vibe that it has. And everybody owns one, whether it's the police forces, the military, just about everyday people, and even film stars. And we have a very special star with us today on the show to talk about the Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield has this very rich history which dates back over 100 years. (1891) maybe when the brothers bought the factory, but it was really in 1893 when they won a contract to supply precision gears to the Royal Small Arms Factory Enfield, Middlesex, which is where the name Enfield was born. Basically, the logo and trademark was born because of Enfield's involvement in making equipment for the military, which they had contracts to supply. Now, while all of this happened, there still wasn't really a production bike. In the 1900s, they got involved in motorsport with a quadricycle which they were making, and that was the first time it entered the 1,000-mile trial or the very first Mille Miglia, where it did really well. But it was in 1901 that the first Royal Enfield bike was seen, and this is what it looked like. Well, Royal Enfield went on to make a lot of bikes, 2-stroke, 4-stroke, and even a special ladies model was made. But it was really in 1932 that a legend was born. This is when the Bullet was first introduced at the Olympia Motorcycle Show. And at that time, there were 3 versions, a 250, a 350, and a 500cc version. Well, it was in 1949 that RE made its way to India. K. Sundaram Iyer, who started Madras Motors, imported British bikes, and of course, RE was one of them. In fact, the RE was a huge success with the Indian police forces, and they ordered a whole load of them. It was in 1955 that the Redditch company decided to join hands with Madras Motors to make the bikes in India. And that's how Royal Enfield India came into being. Royal Enfields are now present in 42 countries across the world. And it's not just about a bike, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It's a way of people taking journeys out on the road together and bonding. There is a global community of Royal Enfielders across the world. And the bike we have on today's show is a cafe racer. It is the RE Continental 650. To talk about this bike, the RE culture, and much more, we have actor and rising star Sunny Kaushal. Welcome to our show History on Wheels. We are so happy to have you with us.
How I decided to buy the bike, I got this 2 years ago, and how I decided to buy is I was shooting in Ladakh. And I had one day free because of some shoot cancellation or something, and so I decided I'm gonna book a bike and I'm just going to ride. You know, I don't know where I was going. I was just
place to do it, yeah.
Like I'll ride for 3-4 hours and then backtrack it and then come back, you know, in the evening. So I rode and something so beautiful happened with me. I was riding on this road and there were mountains around me and there was nobody. There was absolutely nobody. I couldn't see a person. I could not see any other cars, no trucks, nothing. It was just me and it was drizzling a bit. And I was riding at the speed of like say 30, 40 just on the road going alone. And it was the most spiritual moment in my life, and I started crying. And I realized, man, I was like, I have to go back and get a bike, you know, because it just made me feel something which I had never felt before.
When you're talking about, you know, boys, bikes, like a lot of guys would say, I want a Hayabusa, I want a Ninja, I want a BMW 1000R. But the Continental 650, the RE, what drew you to this bike?
Okay, so first of all, I always wanted to buy Royal Enfield as my first bike. Because, like I said, I saw Dad riding a Bullet, right? So it was there in my mind that, you know, if there is a bike, then it's Royal Enfield. And I think I did a movie as well, Hurdang, in which I was just riding a Bullet.
Okay.
So for the longest time, I actually wanted to buy the Bullet. Till this bike came in.
Okay.
And I was like, man, this just looks so cool. You know, Bullet is great and I still want to buy it.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is something that and the whole history of it, and then I started researching about cafe racers, the whole history about it and how people kind of broke away from conformity and made their own thing with the bikes. It just kind of drew me in and I was like, I have to experience this, and that's how this bike came into my life.
But this bike is all about, you know, that sculpted tank, those low slung handlebars, this lifestyle of yours that you like, the cruising lifestyle, but it's also got a lot of modern day amenities. Are you one for all the modern gadgetry that one gets nowadays, you know, helmet intercoms, digital...
Oh, really? We have helmet intercoms?
Yeah, helmet intercoms, digital dials, you know, and all the snazzy stuff that comes, ABS and everything that comes in bike. Or do you prefer that old world charm?
The old world charm.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it's also because before this, whatever the bikes I rode were all vintage.
Yeah.
Like I remember I did this web show called The Forgotten Army. And in that I was playing an army officer in 1942 India, right? And that time there used to be BSAs. So I actually rode a 1942 BSA for a scene in the film. And everything is flipped. The gears, everything is flipped in that, right? So, and even in Hurdang, the Bullet that I rode was 1986 500 Bullet.
Okay.
So for me, it's that the simplicity of it. You know, that's what draws me. The gadgets and all, that's great. I mean, that has a space. But when I'm riding, I just need it to be bare minimal. I just need to connect with the bike, and I just need a speedometer to see and my fuel tank gauge, and that's about it. I don't need much with the bike.
So, Cafe Racer is all about the customization. Like you said, you researched it. So, what have you done with this bike? Did you do anything special?
No, I haven't. I've just kept it raw. I've just installed this phone holder for my GPS. That's about it. But I don't want to customize it. Not this one. Maybe later bikes if I buy. But I just want to keep this raw and enjoy it as it was meant to by the manufacturers, and that's
And do you often pick and choose those roles because there's like a lot of bike riding in it, and you do like having the bike in your roles?
I wish I could. I love having bikes in my role, but I wish I could pick and choose my characters according to the bike. But I do try to, if there is a scene written, you know, okay, oh, he's riding a two-wheeler. It's like, sir, can this be a bike? Can this be a cruiser? He's like, no, you're riding a scooty. I said, yeah, but he can own a bike. He's like, no, the character can't own a bike. He rides a scooty. I said, oh, chalo, we'll make do with scooty.
That actually is quite funny. Stunts.
Yeah.
If you had to do them on a bike, would you do your own?
No, I don't think I would take that chance.
Yeah.
Not for me, but for the bike. I wouldn't let anything happen to the bike. So I would let a professional take care of that, and also because for a very simple reason that I haven't learned doing stunts on a bike.
So Dad didn't take you and make you do all kinds of crazy things. Oh, actually, sorry, that's the wrong question. He's a parent.
He will not. In fact, he was very scared when I was riding the bike, because he was also the action director on The Forgotten Army. So I remember him being a little squeamish when he saw me on the bike. But no, yeah, I wouldn't want to do stunts on a bike. Let professionals take it.
Is your brother Vicky Kaushal also very fond of bikes and cars? And do you guys fight about who's going to ride what?
No,
no?
He doesn't ride bikes.
He doesn't ride bikes.
No,
so you've got this all to yourself. And
yeah. In fact, very interesting fun fact, this was a birthday gift from Vicky.
Oh, that is
and
so
it's a very interesting story because I told you I came back from Ladakh.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, now I'm buying a bike, right? So I'm going through all the catalog and everything, and I've looked at 350, the classic, Royal Enfield Classic, Interceptor. I've looked at this, and I've zeroed down on either 350, which is a proper upright, or this one, which with my height gives me a fairly upright position, if not completely. So, and my birthday is approaching, and he's like, I'm going to gift him a bike. And Dad is like, but why do you want to gift him? You know, it's okay, let him be. It's the same thing, the parental thing. Vicky is like, come on, like he's 31 now. He's going to buy a bike. Like no matter what you say, he will buy a bike. So he just kind of, and it was a very, very special moment when I got down in my building and he was just standing there with the bike, and I was like, I don't know how to react because my mind couldn't understand what was happening. It was very special.
You said you did ride in Ladakh.
Yes.
Have you ridden here, you know, out of town anywhere else at all? Maybe not this bike, but have you done any long rides, or are there any bucket list long rides that you would like to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to explore some things. I would actually love to ride in the mountains.
Yeah.
You know, in the city, you can ride that much and probably go on the highways or something, and then, you know, I can go probably till Panvel or something and come back. But I would love to go back to the mountains and ride again.
Yeah, there's a feeling of being in the mountains.
Like properly, very consciously say, okay, now I'm packing my bags, taking my bike and going to ride.
Yeah, that really is, I think being out on the road, and I call it seeing the world through the windscreen because I see it through a windscreen.
Through a windscreen.
There's just nothing quite like it.
I see it through a helmet visor. Because you need to concentrate and you need to be really alert when you're riding the bike. It just kind of pulls you to the present. Like, you know, you're just there. You're just there with the bike and with the wind, and you're just riding it. If I remember correctly, I always loved this feeling of, you know, speed and motion and wind in my hair. It just probably allowed me to think clearly. Dad was like, "Hey, tu rehne de. Bike mat chalana." When I was like, you know, learning how to ride and everything, but I think this was meant to happen. So.
So that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that bike ride, and I understand the zen you mean, because with my full face on, I'd like drowned out the world and I was just enjoying the time on the bike.
Chalo, I'm glad.
So I can understand what you feel on the bike every day. And before we let you go, we're going to ask you some really cool, fun questions, very general questions, and then we'll throw in one or two trick ones and check your RE knowledge. Okay. Okay. So, riding or acting?
Acting, but riding in it.
Okay. Bike or car?
Bike.
Okay. And would you like a fueled bike or a electric bike? That's
fueled, obviously.
Okay. Manual or automatic?
Manual.
What's your favorite driving song?
My favorite driving song is a Punjabi playlist, actually. It's not a song, but a playlist. So I just put on my Punjabi playlist and I go to town.
I have to tell you, you're the first person on our show that this question has not thrown. Because everybody has these favorite driving songs, but when I ask this question, they go, oh, I have it, I know it, but which one is it? And you just came out with it stat, like, this is my playlist. Yeah. Which is the one road in the world you would pick to drive on if you could go today now?
Like ride on, bike?
Ride on, yes.
Ladakh.
Ladakh? Yeah. Okay. And one bike, regardless of money, say you had all the money in the world and you could own a bike, what would it be?
Oh, all the money in the world. I think I would still go for like a 500 Bullet.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know why, man. It's just something I like.
There's true passion here. He's definitely an RE man, yeah?
I mean, I can buy great bikes with money and all, but it's at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, so let's test your RE knowledge since you're such an ardent RE fan.
Oh.
There was something called the Flying Flea. Do you know what it was?
Yeah, kind of. It was those parachute bikes, 125cc, World War I.
Oh, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. This guy knows his stuff. Okay, Ari did a diesel bike. Did you know that? And do you know what it was called?
I know they did a diesel bike, but I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
It's called the Taurus.
It's called the Taurus. Yes.
But I am very impressed. I am very impressed. This is true passion. You really enjoy your bikes and you really enjoy the Ari brand. Thank you so much for being on this show. It has been a pleasure having you. And I'm going to come back and ride with you sometime.
Come on, and whenever
long ride, that long ride.
Absolutely, long rides. Yes.